Awesome. I think it is about time to go ahead and kick things off. So, hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for session one of Playing Through Your Career Change. If we haven't met before, hi, my name is Natalie. I head up marketing for Climate People, which is a climate tech recruitment agency. So essentially, quick reminder, if you are not perfect, that was gonna get you next, but we are in a meeting, not a webinar. So if you are not muted, we'll be able to hear you, but that also means you can have your camera on so we can actually feel like we're in a room together. So feel free to do that, but please keep yourself muted if you are not trying to talk. So yeah, today we are excited to kickstart our series with Laurie. I will let Laurie introduce herself. She can do a better job doing that than I can, but just wanted to take a moment to say thank you so much for joining us today and sharing all your expertise. I know I'm going to learn a lot and I can't wait to learn from you. So I'll hand it off to you now, Laurie.
Thank you, Natalie and Brendan. Thank you so much for coordinating this. Like I said, I really love parties. And I work in a small office by myself in Minneapolis, and I don't get to have parties in here. So thank you very much for coming to this today. We have a lot of people signed up for this. There are 157 people registered. Even if we get a third of you, that will be a lot of people in this room. So I want to just throw out there, I accept all personality types. If going off mute and talking is terrifying for you, you can chat to the group or you can chat just to me. If you want to chat just to me, do it right now. Pull it up, pull the little blue thing down and just chat to me. My chat's going to be open the whole time. If you don't want me to say your name connected to your question, put that in there and I won't. I don't want to call anybody out who doesn't want to be called out. I am a gregarious extrovert who feels safe and that I belong everywhere I go. And I will say and do things that a gregarious extrovert will do. So if you don't want to engage in that, don't come off of mute. I ask lots of questions. I push lots of boundaries. And there will be time today for me to do one-on-one or small group or talking. So if you think you might want to do that, you can put that in the chat now. You can raise your hand when it's time. Welcome to do that however you want. So who am I? I am actually an architect, but I don't practice architecture anymore. So I know a lot about the built environment. I love the built environment. But what I'm doing now is I know that I'm here to help people who are focused on climate have bigger impacts, do that faster, and feel better in their lives. I have been experimenting with how humans make big transformations since 1990 when I was in middle school. I don't really have a way of counting how many people I have helped, but it's probably around 1,000. I don't really know. What I love doing is it's really easy for me to see how we hold ourselves back. And it looks very different depending on who you are and where you've been and what you're trying to do. But I've been looking at this since 1990, and it is all I do for work now. So I am here today with Natalie and Brendan because I love networking. I remember the day in high school when I learned the word that validated this thing that I really love doing. And this thing that I really love doing that I was naturally drawn to is actively listening, understanding where I connected with somebody else, finding the part of me that they connected with once I saw it, and building rapport. I remember the day in high school when that was validated by one of my teachers. So what we're going to do in this mini series, and this is a 4-part, and I just want to be honest, all 4 of these might not be for you. The first 2, they're kind of for anyone. The last 2, the third one is really for our beautiful introverts. The 4th one is really for our beautiful extroverts. So you don't have to come to all 4 of them. But what we're going to go through today is you really can enjoy networking. There is a way to enjoy networking no matter who you are, where you are, and what you're doing. So with that in mind, with so many of you in the room, I have a little poll that I'm going to put into the chat. I would like you please all to take a second, look at the options on this poll, and please pick two, the top two that resonate with you. If you don't want to do two, just pick one. Please don't pick more than two. And I'm going to use this as a way to understand where we're starting today. So the one that most of you pick is the topic that we will start on. And these topics came out of those of you who filled out that questionnaire when you registered. These were the common themes that came out of that. So these ideas really do come from you. And Natalie, I think I can share my screen. I just realized that I was hogging the, oh, I can't share my screen. I was hogging the results. It's so fun to see them come in.
I'll make you a host so that you can share your screen.
Thank you.
All right, you can do that now.
Thank you.
Yep.
So you can see these coming in.
Yep.
Thank you all for taking the time to answer. So the themes we could cover today: I don't know how to network well. I will embarrass myself. I will get rejected. I'll be seen as too pushy or forward. I can't handle awkward pauses. And I can't ask strangers for help. And I want you to just notice as you're looking through these, I have written these very intentionally. I wrote these in a way that they are facts. And we'll get into why I did that, because part of what we're going to look at today is what you believe and how to explore another option of that belief. Okay, I think responses have slowed down. So it looks like we are starting with, I'll be seen as too pushy or forward. And a very close second is, I can't ask strangers for help. Maybe these two are actually tied together. So before I ask if anybody wants to come off mic and get some one-on-one help, I want to talk about what this means. I will be seen as too pushy or forward. I want you to notice how I stated that as a fact. And before we get into this, beliefs, this is a belief statement. Beliefs are opinions. And with great empathy and care, I know that they feel like facts. Okay. So if this resonates with you, I'll be seen as too pushy or forward, and you connect whatever sidecar onto that makes sense for you. That feels embarrassing. I'll be ashamed. Somebody might say that to me and I'll just feel yuck. Whatever connects with that, just take note of that and become the observer of how you feel about networking. So I want to talk about and overall where we're going with this is, I want to help you find that this is not a light switch, an on off, a binary. I'm either so passive I can't ask for anything, or I'm so pushy that I alienate everyone I come against all of the time. That's what this question looks like when it's a binary, when it's a light switch, when it's on, when it's off. And where we're going today is, if you believe that this is a binary and you can't choose this one, all you can choose is this one. And again, I want to remind you, this is, I'm so passive that I can't ask anyone for anything or impose anything about me on anyone else. And for everybody who lives in Canada and where I live in South Canada, I want to just acknowledge this is the dominant culture. I was raised to not push my beliefs on other people, and to never be clear and direct and say, will you hire me to do that for you and pay me what I'd like you to pay me? Horror of horrors. Oh, never. Okay, we're going to explore this because this is a really deep-seated one, even if you don't live in Canada and South Canada where I live. So in that sense, I would like to ask for a brave soul. This works a lot better when somebody comes off of mic. And I'm wondering, Natalie, if we need to remove spotlight if there's two of us, or if you can spotlight two.
I was going to spotlight both of you, but I can also remove it if you'd rather that.
You're on it. Thank you.
Always willing, Laurie.
Hi, Joe. Oh, but now
Hello.
I have to change my window so I can see you. If I remove my own spotlight, will that do that for everyone, Natalie? Oh my gosh, you're so good at Zoom. Okay. Hi, Joe.
Hello.
So what about this resonates with you? I'll be seen as too pushy.
it just resonates of um I don't know how to describe it more than that of, I want to create a long-term connection with this individual, but there's so much pressure of, if I mess it up right away, I push too far and it's dead before it's even out of the gate.
So I heard another belief underneath that, and if this is wrong, please correct me. But the other belief that I heard is this engagement is high stakes.
Correct.
Or you might say that of networking opportunities are scarce, so they feel high stakes.
It certainly feels that way.
Okay. Okay. So again, with the idea of beliefs, when you believe that, I'm gonna mess this up. That's a thought. When you think that thought, how do you feel?
Crushed. Fetal position, curled up in a ball.
You're not going out, man. You're in your bedroom in the corner.
Yep.
Just finding comfort. Okay. So that was how you feel and how you act. Thank you. That was awesome. Do you want to keep thinking, feeling, and acting this? Cool.
Not in the slightest.
Talk to me about how you want to be. And hold on, before you answer that, I just want to float this. You're all here because somebody told you that you have to network and something on this list resonates with you. That can be absolutely paralyzing. I have to do this thing and I'd rather be in the corner. So if you have strong will, you will leverage that force of will and you will go to the dreaded networking event and you will show up unwell. Okay.
Because it takes all the energy to get there, and then there's no, I'll find a corner at the networking event.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe I'll just stand on the edge and I feel that I've done this thing that who are they? Is there a customer service support for they told me I have to do this. Can we call them? Is there a Q&A? We'll get to that. That's a separate question. So, Joe, how do you want to feel? How do you want to think? How do you want to act?
I want to feel comfortable in the center of the room, interacting with as many as needed.
Is that within reach for you? And I want to float this out there. Being in the center of the room, hobnobbing with everybody is not on the table for everybody. Is that on the table for you?
It is.
Okay, so this is a within reason thing for you to go for. Okay. As a side note, you do not have to be in the middle of the room talking to dozens of people to be good at networking. I'm going to say that one more time. If you leave with nothing but this, everybody focus, stop your snap facing. You do not have to be in the center of the room talking to dozens of people to be great at networking. I have loved networking since circa 1995 when I learned the word. I am not in the middle of the room talking to everybody. I'm the person they told you to be, and I don't do that. We'll come back to that. Joe, you still want that?
I mean, part of it.
Can we shift it just a time? I
feel like I've had that in the past, and I haven't been able to attain it in years.
I have a hidden agenda, Joe. I'm just going to be transparent.
I know. I'm sure you do.
What if we modified it a little bit that you got your needs met through networking?
Yes.
And you know what your needs are. Meeting people, making connections, being clear about what you're making. Fill in all the blanks. Everybody who's listening, fill in all the blanks. What are your needs about networking? It's
clear about the next
different.
steps.
Yeah. So Joe, what does it mean for you? And you're not job seeking, you're building a company.
Yeah. It means we are going to work together. You're either going to install one of the machines I'm building or help me get machines to the locations they need to be.
That sounds a little bit like a really good one-on-one conversation. Really good one-on-one conversation. So there's another belief under this. I have to have lots of conversations to find one good one.
Mhm.
How do you feel when you think that?
It feels if I haven't had those initial conversations with at least a dozen or 2 dozen, it was a failure. Or God forbid, I'm not even at a networking event and just trying to cold DM through LinkedIn and other methods.
So you feel maybe that there's a gap between who they told you should be and who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How do you behave when you think that and feel that gap?
It just increases that pressure of the high stakes.
When you
I,
actually get a conversation at the event, do you try to end it fast so you can get to another one?
yeah, especially if I feel that I'm not getting to that point that I need to get it to, of like, okay, I've got to wrap this up because this person's already a no, move on somewhere else.
Everybody pause and listen to what Joe said. Do you want to talk to somebody who's in that energy?
I don't want to talk to me when I'm in this
I
energy.
don't want to talk to that. I don't want to talk to that guy. So in a way, what they told you to do is sabotaging what you actually want, which is one really good. I mean, if somebody's going to buy a machine, there's going to be some trust there. You're going to have alignment, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So let's design this whole mythical networking event all over again. What's the outcome that meets your needs?
Conversations that are moving towards a sale, if not closing the sale there.
Great. Great. How many?
Depending on the size of the event and how long, ideally at least 5.
Great. So let's say you're at an event with 200 people for 45 minutes. You could get 5 maybes, strong maybes out of that. Okay. And so I want to just point out another thing, and this came up. Thank you, you beautiful introverts. Use the chat. Your input is relevant. This is going to help Joe. You can't even see it. You don't even know. What you're talking about is working with somebody in a fairly long-term, kind of high stakes relationship. They got to know you, you got to know them. So it's not just that conversation in the loud room as you're getting to know each other, it's the follow-up. How do you feel about the follow-up?
Follow-up, I'm much more comfortable with.
Take yourself into that moment, that first version where you're hopping from person to person. How do you feel about the follow-up when you're in that state?
Not good. It's an email to the void.
Oh, raise your hand if you love an email to the void. It's wretched. Don't do that anymore. Everybody raise your right hand and solemnly swear that you're going to retire from emails into the void. Don't do it. Doesn't work. Okay. So, Joe, we've got a 45-minute event with 200 people in it. You'd love to come away with 5 really good one-on-one. You were present for them. They were present for you. You weren't thinking about where are the other 4. How do you feel when you strike up a conversation in that state?
I mean, when you know you've made that connection and the conversation starting to flow, it's like a full body, great. There's energy, focus here. This is moving along the way we want it to.
Can everyone notice how Joe started smiling when he said that? If you're watching the recording, rewind, please. That was beautiful. How do you feel about going to an event where you get to feel like that?
That I'll show up early and stay late for.
Awesome. I just want to pause. I want to pause and see if anybody has connections or questions, because I know Joe's situation is not everybody's situation. You all are coming at this differently. But correct me if I'm wrong, Joe. What we just did is there's no binary. Oh, there's medium ground. And the medium ground that you found made us smile. That's the whole point of this first call. All of you can network in a way that feels right. I want to say that one thing I said earlier. I am who they told you to be. And I don't stand in the middle of the room looking for 36 connections. You don't have to go to the middle of the room at all. You don't have to go to the room at all. It's a really good question in the chat. What if online or written is your only access? I live in Minneapolis. I don't have any local clients. Unless I go somewhere, online and written is my only access. Oh, and I'm Gen X, and I will totally call you if you give me your number. You can call me too. So what do you do if you can't have that person? Because there's this, right, Joe, there's this thing that happens when you meet someone and you're like, oh, we've got a vibe. It's okay. My shoulders go down a little bit. The happiness comes out. What if you can't go to the room? And this is the email into the void thing. What if you can't do that?
I'm at a complete loss.
Do you want to talk about that, or do you want to cede the spotlight?
I'm happy if someone else wants to take the spotlight. I don't want to
So
hog the
maybe
spot.
let's put it out. If anybody wants the spotlight. Oh, virtual coffee. Jeff, you want the spotlight?
Sure, I'll hop in.
Joe, thank you so much. I am grateful that you're here and that you brought your beautiful self. Hi, Jeff.
Hello.
So Jeff put in, I'm a big fan of the virtual coffee, 15 to 20 minute opening conversations coming out of cold LinkedIn DMs.
Yeah, so that's kind of like how I find an opening to make a connection with a person that builds that friendship or actual like connection before even diving into how I can help them or they can help me, just to really have a relationship first and then build off of there.
So how do you feel about the cold LinkedIn DMs? That's the written stuff that was in the question.
Oh, it's brutal. You definitely get like 15% response rate, I feel like, or at least I do, even with related questions. But I feel like when I propose some sort of a conversation, whether it's Zoom call, phone call, people are more willing to have that conversation and just see where they can help with a very limited time chunk to figure out like, oh, this is worth continuing or this is not worth our time. But that's definitely
so that you propose
helped.
the virtual coffee after having exchanged some written communication.
Yeah, that's like part of the opening of like, hey, I'm interested in X that you're working on, or saw you were part of this group. Would you like to have a 15, 20-minute coffee just to chat about what you're working on and maybe related to where my questions are going as well.
So I want to go back in that process just a little bit. So it sounds like the virtual coffee is the nice part, the human connection part, even if you can't put your body in the same room, right? But the 15% return rate can't feel that good.
Oh no, that sucks. But
so
but I mean,
let's go back to that. Talk to me. How do you motivate yourself to do that with a return rate like that?
Oh, because I'm a lunatic trying to found a company, so you got to get used to rejection. And for all the rejections, when you do find those genuine connections, it makes it worthwhile. Of like finding people who want to nerd out about whatever they're working on and what I'm working on makes it worthwhile.
So I want to, if we were in the same room right now, I might offer a hug, Jeff. Because you just called yourself a lunatic and you said trying to found a company. I want to, with great care and compassion, invite you to say these words out loud. I'm Jeff and I founded a company.
I am Jeff and I have founded a company.
Jeff, what are you working on?
CO2 to graphite with liquid metal catalytic reactors.
Woo!
See some of it behind me.
Yeah. I have that CO2 tank at home.
Yeah, I got it from the beverage shop, so probably.
Yeah, that's how I make bubbly water. When you say it that way, what changes?
It lets me dig into the passion I have for it and really focus on what I find exciting and interesting and want to share that.
When you say it that way, who do you invite to connect with you?
I guess people that are also interested and passionate about what they're working on to like have that reciprocation and share and kind of build up from both sides of that conversation.
Nice. And Jeff, what's the successful networking outcome for you? Like I asked Joe.
It's well, at this point, it's a lot of feedback of design review of tearing apart my idea to build it back stronger and better. And then
Jeff,
just
do you have a
industry
PhD?
connections. No, I just have a lowly bachelor's.
Okay. Anybody in the room who has a PhD, we can talk about that if you want to, but you get formally trained to do something that makes networking really difficult. Successful connection for you is getting people to help you build your idea. Okay. When you go out and do the LinkedIn cold slide into DM thing, do you have that intention in mind?
I think at some level it's there, but the big thing is I like talking about what I'm passionate about and what I'm working on, and I like hearing that from other people as well. But yeah, I guess the primary is like eventually figuring out how or if this person could be useful and if I could be useful to them.
All right, let's try something out. You have a proven process of leveraging the energy to do the dreaded cold outreach, knowing that there's a beautiful reward of a virtual coffee. I can tell how good that is for you. What if, instead of draining your battery to do the dreaded cold outreach, you started posting about what you love about what you're making?
Mhm.
What if you took a selfie with your nerd gear back there?
Yeah.
Where I'm going with this is the way that I network. I put this thing in my pocket, do not touch it. I go into the dreaded room and I feel the way whoever I want to talk to craves feeling. I'll give you a tangible example of what I'm talking about. People hire me because they want to leapfrog their success and feel better in their life. And those feeling better in their life, it's things like relief. I can take the afternoon off. I can take a vacation. I'm living in my purpose, right? So I go into the room. I don't walk up to anybody. I stand there and I feel the feeling that I know they want to feel.
Mhm.
I don't say anything. I just feel it. Do you know what happens, Jeff?
They open up.
My future clients walk up to me and say hello. So immediately, with my nervous system, I have energetically filtered for people who are highly likely to be like, please, I need some help. There's a lot of people in that room who are never going to hire me. With love and respect for all of them, I don't need to have a quick conversation with them. I wish them well. I'm there to find the people who are ready to be like, Laurie, please help me. I'm here to save the world. And I didn't go on fast enough and I feel terrible. So Jeff, if writing is comfortable, if you can slide into DMs, you can write. How could you write on LinkedIn or wherever you post about what you're doing and how great people will feel when they step up to help you?
Yeah, I just need to brag is a more loaded phrase that I want to use, but I need to share the things I'm passionate about.
Oh, we started this whole thing with, I don't want to seem pushy. We got to talk about it. We got to talk about bragging. I'm going to put my LinkedIn in here so everybody who's listening can have a look at what I'm talking about. And Jeff, you can do this later. Think and do. That's hard. All right, here's my LinkedIn. I have been posting the way that I'm suggesting Jeff post for 2 years. When I write my posts, I have my future client in mind. I hold their beautiful heart in mind. God, you're all such amazing humans. I hold your pain and I help you. I feel how good it feels to help you see the gradient. And then I write about either what that looked like with somebody who's similar to you, or how it felt with somebody who's similar to you, or how I know you can feel when you say yes. Now, if you look at my posts and you think I'm bragging, that's cool. But you know what the difference is? I don't care. I don't care at all if you think that's bragging. And you know how I live with myself? I'm not looking for the data that supports me being an arrogant used car salesperson. So, Jeff, what is it about bragging? What's so hard about that? Also, everybody throw your LinkedIn. You're here in a networking seminar. Put your LinkedIn thing. Everybody connect. What's hard about bragging, Jeff?
Oh, that's 35 years of upbringing.
It's hard. So it's
Yeah.
it's what I was talking about in Canada and South Canada and other parts of the world. We're not supposed to do that. What would be true in your life if somebody said, stop bragging?
I guess, what do you mean, what would be true?
How would
Or
your
like-
life change if somebody said, Jeff, stop your bragging?
Oh, I would just not talk to that person. Just move on to someone else who's more open and passionate about something.
Would you take that with you at all? Would it stick at all?
No.
Cool. So back to this idea. You're going to take a picture with your nerd gear and write, what was the sentence you said a minute ago? Would you mind saying it one more time? You're a founder who... CO2.
Turning CO2 into graphite with liquid metal catalytic reactors.
Okay, that's super nerdy. How does that make my life better?
So graphite is in every EV battery. And currently it's all dug up out of the ground and imported from China with a lot of gnarly emissions. So this is carbon negative, green graphite. It's great.
So you can make graphite anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So you take the international borders out of graphite.
Yep.
How does that make my life better?
Environmentally much more responsible. No greenhouse gas emissions, no shipping of stuff across the world. International shipping is pretty awful. And yeah, powering the EV future from yesterday's pollution.
Anybody in this room connect with that? Yeah. How does it feel to say it that way instead of the catalytic, the nerd? I don't remember what you're saying. Because what I just heard you say is the world becomes safer because we lower greenhouse gas emissions and we take this international struggle out of a thing we need.
Mhm.
What I heard you say is, I have 2 kids. You make the world safer for my babies.
Mhm.
Now we're talking, dude. So your posts, open this up a little bit.
Mhm.
Do all of your posts have to be very technical?
Oh, generally I don't post. That's the thing, is I'll have one-on-ones and direct conversations, but I almost like to control that narrative of having that conversational relationship instead of just yelling into the void.
Oh man. I want to pause and just say thank you so much. If anybody can connect with the idea that posting anywhere is yelling into the void, just pause for a second and listen really clearly. I have a client who's in her mid-20s who really wants to disseminate climate information so people can understand it. What a gift, right? She's absolutely hamstrung at the idea that she'll say something wrong and get canceled. Anybody connect with that? When we put the pressure on, I can't post incorrectly, I can't release anything and let it be out of control, I can't put anything up there that might make somebody uncomfortable. That's my upper Midwest coming out. I can't brag. I can't ask for help. What I really want is this great personal, I want the virtual coffee, please. I love that. But I can't put anything out to magnetize the people who I'd have a great coffee date with and a great 3rd, 4th, 5th, 12th conversation with. Do you see how that's limiting?
Mhm.
Okay. Here's the reality. Here's another thing. Everybody take it. Stop with your snap face. Showing my age. I don't understand Snapchat. When you put barriers on methods of networking that you actually can do, Jeff, I bet you're good at writing. When you put barriers on methods that are acceptable to you, you limit your ability to network.
Mhm.
If they told you you have to stand in the middle of the room and get 3 dozen business cards, but you would rather write about what you love and have really good one-on-ones, and you won't access the thing that will magnetize people to you, do you see how you've limited yourself by your belief?
Yeah, that's a very, very good point.
Okay, so Jeff, how do you want to think? Or swing for the fences. What do you want to believe?
That other people are going to find all this as interesting as I do.
That your people are out there, man,
Yeah,
and they are dying to talk to you. When you think that, how do you feel?
good. Just puts this grinning smile on my face.
And how do you act when you feel that happy?
Good. Better.
Yeah, and when you write an email or a DM or start with the cold sliding in DMs thing or get the virtual coffee from that version of you, how nice is that to be on the other end of?
Oh,
People
it's
are going to
great.
want to talk to you. Yeah, that's a really beautiful version of you. And if you feel good doing it, your people, they'll walk to you like they smell cookies baking. They won't even know why. I want to say thank you, and I'm willing to let you off the spotlight unless you have any questions or connections.
No, that's been very helpful. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you again. I want to throw out here something that came in a DM, and I might have missed a bunch of DMs when your LinkedIn's were coming in. Excuse me. And it's about this idea of being canceled. So sometimes when we are actively seeking a new job, LinkedIn can feel a little off limits. Like if you don't want your current employer to notice that all of a sudden you're really active on LinkedIn, or you don't want your current employer to see you being like, hey, I'm ready to be a startup founder who is out there who can help me. LinkedIn can feel really, really off limits. And it's this idea of being canceled. It's this idea that if I post something and somebody screenshots it, and even if I have regret and I delete it later, it will live in perpetuity. That takes posting off limits. Is there anybody who's comfortable on the spotlight who this resonates with, who would like to come off of their mute and talk about that? Oh my gosh, there's another one.
I can hop up.
Thank you, Megan. As you hop up, I'm going to read this other one. This is more about a fear of image. Oh, what if they think I'm desperate? What if they think, and this is my word, what if they think I'm needy? What if they ask me really hard questions like, oh, you want to work in climate? Where's your decade of experience? I'm going to feel really gross if that happens. And so if if your belief is that if I put myself out there and I get negative stuff, if something feels yuck, you're not going to be motivated to do it. So you want to network. You want to come at it from your creative, beautiful mind. And what's on your mind right now is maybe a predictable outcome that's not going to feel good. This is kind of like what we were talking about with Joe, like that's Joe Fetal in the corner, not in the room. Okay, that was a lot, Megan. What do you resonate with about that?
I think for me, it's definitely I think definitely the being seen as he's almost like less than or too needy, or just you're not what we want. It's that ultimate fear of rejection that
Oh my gosh, you're so brave and amazing. Thank you for coming forward.
yeah. And I know that for me, like if I am actively looking for work and I don't have a job, and so I'm like really worried that if I post something wrong, that something like might come up and it's gonna come back and it's gonna haunt me. But I'm trying to like not let that like I feel like if it's something that I'm passionate about, like I don't want it to like hold me back, but like it's still that innate fear of what if this is my one chance? Like what if like oh my gosh, it just feels like so much pressure. And I know it's completely put on myself. And some days are better than others, but like it
So
just
Megan, when you feel that pressure, that you dipped right into it right now, and I want to encourage you to take an intentional breath,
yeah,
maybe two. Slow it down because you went right to that place that doesn't feel good.
no.
When you're in that place and you say, but I have to do this. I call this an energy leak. Your body has indicated your body has sent up the flag, danger. And you're like, shh. That's an energy leak because your body is using energy to warn you. And you're suppressing it with your conscious mind. So you're spending twice the amount of energy. That is exhausting. If anybody connects with this and you have found that there are days that you're just too tired to do this, that's literal. You really can run out of energy for this because I'm going to have to do a tiny lecture and then I'll come back to your question. The way that humans evolved, my ancestors were amazing at staying alive. Expert, world-class survivalists. So were yours. Everybody who's in here has ancestors that are world-class survivalists. And the tools that we developed were tools that said, in my life, my brain is going to remember everything, every important lesson. So every elevated emotional event, every big scary thing, every super happy thing. And it's going to really highlight mostly the scary bad things. And it will remember them. So when the conditions are such that it's similar from a past scary thing, your body literally warns you, sends up an alarm and says, hey, conscious mind, stop it. Remember that? You know, it won't even tell you when it was. There was a thing, we say no. But our conscious brain actually has the ability to be like, shh. But if you go about networking this way, this is a cycle that won't end well. Can I show you how to help with this?
Please.
Please. Great.
Please.
Okay. What kind of human connection is on the table is accessible for you? What do you like doing when you're meeting people?
I like both virtual and in person. Especially I definitely like meeting people in person. Like I like being able to do that. Like having
What happens
that,
when you meet somebody? Think about the last person you met in person and it felt great. What happened?
it's being able like just like having that connection, like being able to be seen and be heard, like having that just it makes you feel human, and like you just like it makes me feel alive.
Did you feel safe in that moment?
Yeah,
And like you could be you
yeah,
and that felt good.
yeah, it did.
Okay. Looking forward to your next either virtual or in person or cold written or whatever. How do you want to feel in that engagement?
I want to feel genuine. Like I want to feel like I am my truest self. That is how I like to show up. And like
what are the thoughts that help you feel genuine and your truest self? What do you think about yourself that brings those feelings up?
that's a good question. Um, hmm. I think part of it is actually being open to not like listening or talking, or not listening, but like not just talking about myself, but like making sure that I'm like actively like engaging the other person. Like that it's, yeah, I talk about myself, but that I'm also like, that I'm like, hey, like I want to learn about someone else. Like
Can
see,
everybody who's not on Snapface right now put a thumbs up in the chat if you see how good Megan is at that? She's doing it right now. You're good at this. You're really attentive to my actions and reactions. You're good at making a connection. You have this in you. I bet you do it written too.
I've been told.
So when you think, I'm good at connecting to people. Also, Megan, I hope your chat's open.
It is.
When you think the thought, I'm good at connecting with people, and I feel genuine when I do that, how do you behave?
Like my true self, that I can be me, and I'm like, hey, I can be vulnerable, I can be open, and that's big.
When you can be yourself and be vulnerable and attentive and responsive and connecting, how's that person going to feel talking to you?
They're also going to feel, I assume, seen, heard. Also, they're going to feel that connection.
Affirmed. I feel very seen and heard. Megan, you want to ask me for a favor?
Sure.
What's your big breakthrough that you need? Because, sidebar, when I feel very seen and heard and I feel your humanity and I get to share mine, I would love to help you. How can I help you?
Honestly, being able just to like work on this, like I feel like I get in my own way sometimes. So helping being able to get out of my own way sometimes.
Here is the secret to getting out of your way. You're at a crossroads right now and you got to choose one or the other path. What we just did was we identified how you think, feel, and act when you're not well. And you designed how you want to think, feel, and act when you're well. If you forget, go back and watch the recording and write it down. So this path over here, you can make 900 post-it notes in your life and put it all over and try to catch every time you subconsciously slip into the old one. It does work. It will take a long time and a lot of energy to make that change. Another way to do this is practice it in your brain. Did you ever do any theater or music or performance of any kind?
Music, yeah.
Yeah, music. Remember rehearsal?
Yeah.
Why'd you do rehearsal?
To get better and to learn.
How did rehearsal help you on the day of the concert?
It made it so that half the time I didn't even need to look at the music. I just knew what I was doing.
You were unconsciously skilled at the concert. It just came out of you because you rehearsed, right?
Yeah.
So there's the rehearsal. Did you play with solo or with others?
With others.
Okay, so you practiced on your own. You rehearsed with others so that on performance day, it just flowed out. So here's the other path. Practice this. What did you play or do you play?
I played saxophone.
Oh yeah, tenor?
Barry, actually.
No, shut up.
Yeah.
I love the baritone saxophone.
Yeah.
In my wildest dreams, I was a drummer. Okay. It's not the same as practicing. By the way, my right hand is just going nuts down here on the bottom of the baritone. I've never played a saxophone in my life. It's not the same as using your body to practice. There's no sheet music. Do you know how to daydream?
Yeah.
Daydreaming is practicing. You got a trusted human in your life.
Yeah.
You could declare to them how you want to think, feel, and behave. have a conversation with them about it. So practice it coming out of your mouth with your eyes open. You could, here's the scary word, meditate.
Good heavens.
I know meditating is really scary for a lot of people. I have built an on-ramp to this world. This is free.
I've been practicing actually, so that would be perfect.
Oh, is this timely?
It's timely. It's very timely.
So I remind you of the crossroads. You can put 900 post-it notes in your life and put a lot of energy and time into making this change. You'll get there. You will. It'll just take time. You know how to practice. Oh my God, baritone. Will you send me some really good baritone, please? I'm going to rock out all day. Take this route. Daydream. Talk to a trusted loved one. Say it out loud in the mirror. There's 2 meditations that you'll get if you go through this form. Oh, Jeff, we got an alto in here. We're making a band. Who's the singer? Meditate. So the way these meditations are set up, you have to have 2 conditions, and this will come in instructions. Future timeline. Megan, how quickly would you like to make this change?
Really as soon as possible, but
Also, squirrel brain, we got a singer. Julie's in.
phenomenal.
Who can name this band? So as soon as possible, pick 2 weeks. We're humans. Takes time. Really clearly define, what do you want to be true? Oh, before you do that, you can pick whatever you want. There's no constraints. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Make it good.
That's even better.
Make your mouth water.
Okay.
Once you pick it, write it down. It might take a while to make the words right. Refine it, massage it, make it right, make it good. Make the hair stand up on the back of your neck. It's so good. Bring that into a daydream. Bring that into a conversation with a loved one. Say it out loud in the mirror. Write about it. Meditate. So that on concert day, the next virtual or in-person or written networking opportunity you have, on concert days, does it feel high stakes when you've put the work in?
Not usually. Like it was usually excitement. Like I was excited to see how it would come out.
It's fun, right?
Yeah.
Here, full circle. Holy cow. Thank you, Megan. Networking can be fun. And yes, by the way, I am making fun of Snapchat and Facebook when I say snap face. Everybody get off of your distractometron and focus for a second. Networking is what you have a natural affinity for, that makes you happy, that increases the number of human connections you have. Networking is what you have a natural affinity for, that you like and are good at, that increases your number of human connections. Megan, do you see how there's many more things on the table for you than there were 30 minutes ago?
Absolutely.
And you do networking the way that feels right. Who you are and your personality and how your brain works and the accumulation of your experiences in your life. You know what that is? It's really good. And we need you. And for everybody in this room, who you are today, right now, is really good. We didn't get to talk about the gap imposter syndrome thing because y'all didn't pick that one. Maybe we'll get to that in one of the other classes. This whole idea that there's me today and there's who I want to be and there's a gap in there, that's imposter syndrome. Practice in meditation that there is no gap. Because you know what? There's no gap. You know everything you need to know today to get the job you want, including, I know what I don't know and I can ask. Thoughts, questions, connections. Are you okay? That was a long time on the spotlight.
I'm good. I really appreciate you.
I'm really proud of you. You did amazing. And thank you for bringing this up. I think a lot of people connect with your story.
Thank you.
And I look down and we have 3 minutes left. This happens every time. I am full on sweating. I love groups so much. Does anybody have a 3-minute question they want to bring forward? And if nobody does, notice how easy it is for me to hold a long pause. I'm totally safe in this. Nobody has to come forward. If the long pause is what you picked on the survey, just decide how safe you are when nobody's talking. So we have 3 more classes. They might be for you and they might not be, and that's okay. The next one is really going to highlight what you are already doing today and shore up your belief that that is networking. We touched on that. Thank you a little bit with Megan today. The third class is for the people who say standing in a loud room with strangers asking for help is off the table. I know that class is for you. The fourth class is for, I am an extrovert and I love the melee and I want to make this better. If you're an introvert, you might not super connect with that one. It is possible to have a direct conversation with me. My website is vialucent.com. I already put my LinkedIn. I connect with everybody who asks. I say yes to everyone, literally. That's my website. I got a lot of questions about links afterwards. Natalie, I'm going to remember to save the chat. And if I don't, will you? We will send out all of the relevant links to everybody who attended or post them in the comments on the YouTube. Probably the next class we will touch on imposter syndrome. It is not specifically for imposter syndrome, but it's one of the things that comes up when you believe that what you're doing isn't what they wanted you to do. First of all, every time you find a rule that they gave you, if you can't call them and there's no Q&A, it's not real. Do your work to understand that your belief feels like a fact and it's an opinion. And the next class is February 27th at noon Eastern. Thank you, Natalie, for the link. If you're not already signed up for it, go sign up for it. Tell all your friends. We love having you here. And know that you can ask people for help in the way that feels right for who you are. And who you are is really good.